Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who can't open the show without giving a big shout out to Rihanna. Hey, Rihanna, how are you? Super fan of the podcast, maybe? Shout out your boy. Rob Cesternino, hello everybody. Welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. Here we go, double eviction, baby. A little bit of not the excitement that we are used to on double eviction night, but two people did go home. Jasmine and Joseph left the Big Brother house. We're down to 8. The house is reunited, and here to talk about it, another great panel. First, joining us from the Perfect Match podcast, please welcome in the great Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hey, Rob. I'm excited to be here, but I'm as sad as a undercooked cake coming out of the oven.
Yes, you love Joseph, right?
Yes, I do love Joseph. I just feel like he's such a great guy. Like, just him walking through the house was so sad. I feel for him. I feel like I've lost a friend.
Yes.
And so, I thought I was going to be able to be in mourning, but I'm here.
Yeah, I watched the show and I was like, boy, I wish Joseph was my lawyer, but he also got kind of played pretty hard this week. So I'm like, maybe he's, I don't know. But he seems like
Still
a good
learning.
friend. Seems like a good friend to have. Yeah.
Solid friend. Those are hard to come
Lawyers
by.
get disclosure. They have all the information. It's different.
Yes. Okay. Of course, joining us, taking a break from the hot dummies on the islands over on Love Island. Please welcome in Kirsten MacInnis. Kirsten, how are you?
Rob, I'm great. I'm excited to be here. I heard you wanted to talk to the momentum of the season, so I brought my Ouija board. If you have any questions, we can really get it through.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We're doing Ouija tonight?
I don't think it works through the computer, but I wish we could. I wish we really
We'll
could.
put our hands.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everyone put your hand up to the camera. I'll tell you what it says.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I did cover celebrity exorcism this summer, so okay, I have some familiarity with that. And of
We'll
course,
get Chappelle and Jenny for the Ouija.
a man who is retiring the transition music. Please welcome back Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm great, Rob. Excited to be here. Wait, hold on. Pause. All right, thanks for pausing for the audio.
Yes.
Yeah, just excited to be here, Rob. How are you?
Yeah, very excited. Were you happy when Turner did that? Did you feel like that was you felt seen?
Rob, I don't think happy is a descriptive enough word. That I think all the thanks in the world to Turner for pausing.
The Turner. That was
pausing
fire.
for the plane.
Yes. Appreciate that.
Fire. Very facts.
Yeah. So weird. Okay. A lot going on here tonight on an episode. I mean, this was a historic night. I think we're always going to remember the double eviction and this twist. So I feel like that that gives it something here to this season. I don't think that any of us will forget that this week happened again. And not really thrilled with the outcome here, but to watch the live eviction ceremony in the backyard, as Mike Bloom said on Twitter, this looks like a fan season of Big Brother here in the backyard. This was a pretty memorable night, and so at least we had that, Kirsten.
You're right. Last week we were like, why did they do a 2-hour episode now? Why didn't they do a 2-hour episode for the double? And, we had a 1-hour episode and I didn't want another hour of it. So maybe they just didn't need a 2-hour episode at all.
Yeah, I think they still could have used the extra hour better tonight than last week, but we don't need to revisit that again.
Do we trust them too? I don't trust them anymore.
Okay. Well, just to set the stage here tonight, I want to get your questions going in the chat so we can take them later on in the show. So be on the lookout for that. We are sending in our exit interview questions for both Jasmine and Joseph. We'll have that tomorrow. Taran and I will be back together for the patrons at 3 p.m. Eastern for the patron BB Q&A. And then, of course, Taran will have the live feed update in the morning with Puya at 11 a.m. for all of the coverage of what the house happens when they all reunite. Taran, we saw a fleeting glimpse of the house back together. It looked to me very sad. Taylor seemed to be peering around the corner looking for Joseph.
Don't even get me started on this because I'm so annoyed at the camera angles of this reunification that they waited until there were 30 seconds left in the episode to do. They even, oh my God. It's just like, they have the angles. They showed it to us. They had a side by side. We have everyone inside, everyone outside. It was like, yes, that's exactly what we want to see. I'm so glad we're going to get this. And then as soon as they started to go inside, they went, never mind. We're going to show you close-ups of the people that were from the outside as they walk in. And it was like, okay, they're walking in. Like, okay, all I really care about is to see the people on the inside, how they react to Joseph not being there. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And we're still tight in on the outsiders as they walk through. And then we hear them go, oh, and we're still not on the insiders. And they walk over and we're still not on the insiders. And we finally cut to a close-up of Monty hugging someone. It's like, how are we not on Taylor? How are we not seeing anybody's reaction? I'm so annoyed.
Well, Monty didn't look too happy either, Taran, so you're not alone.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, we saw him unhappy after like 30 seconds of seeing what happened.
It was so frustrating. And then just I was going to say Turner, forgetting that it's a sliding door, even though he's been there for 50 days. He's pushing the door. And then, yeah, we don't care about their reaction to Jasmine being gone. That's the least of our concerns. Oh my gosh, Jasmine's gone. Like, no one was surprised. Oh yeah.
Well, Aysha, Turner hasn't had access, to the same shower situation. And we know his brain doesn't work when he's not clean.
Yeah, it is. Two different Turners.
I mean, we will ultimately, excuse me, we will get, I'm sure, more of these reactions coming up on the Sunday night episode. I'm sure we'll get it with like the confessionals of everybody's reaction. But in terms
they'll
of
try. But I remember.
Yeah, you'll never forget.
We'll never get back our first time.
No.
I mean, I like how after so many years of being disappointed in the show, we can still be hurt in new and exciting ways.
I mean, well, that's a given. Yeah, they come up with a new way every episode. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. All right. So the house is back together, and I'm sure we will have a new HOH by the end of the night. Again, just to reset this, it is the most pivotal HOH of the season. The house, as it stands, split 4-4. We have only 6 people competing in the HOH. I mean, this is going to be, am I overstating it? Is this hyperbolic that this will determine the second half of the season?
It will determine a good portion of it. The interesting thing is we are now at a 4-4 like battle royale, right? Like there are 2 sides going at each other. 2 people from each, or 1 person from each side can't compete. So it's going to be 3v3 in the HOH. The interesting thing is that, yes, while one side, if they win HOH, they're going to be able to take the first strike. It will actually remain 3-3 in the next HOH because the winner of the side that ends up winning will not be able to compete, and the other 3 from the other side will be able to compete. So they will have another chance with relatively equal odds to strike back at the other side. But the side that wins will have an opportunity to take out the best competitor on the other side to help, bolster their odds. So definitely matters a lot. Certainly, especially if you are, worried for people who are the big targets on either side, like Michael or Monty or Kyle or Turner.
And then, so just looking at the calendar, as I understand it, so that will get us down from 8 to 7 1 week from tonight. That will be September 1st. But then I believe we have a traditional double eviction episode coming up the night of September 8th. So then we will go down from that'll be I believe a 2-hour episode, and that will go from I think that it's scheduled as a 2-hour episode. I'm not sure if that's announced as a double eviction.
Yeah, we don't know if it will be a double or if it's just going to be like another like stretched out like nothing.
But it could be any BS. It could be any BS. But I think that's what they did in that spot last year as well. That was one of the double evictions up against the first Thursday night football game. So we will keep an eye on that. I guess let's talk through the sides. Let's start outside. I think there was more
intrigue there. Aysha, things were getting heated outside. Poor Joseph. He was trying to go to work, but I mean, it was like fruitless in terms of like, I think everybody already had their minds made up, but it was also not fun to watch.
Not at all. I thought I was more upset not seeing the feeds. No, I'm more upset actually seeing the fight happen because I had no idea that it was 4v1. Like Joseph never stood a chance from the moment that conversation started, from Alyssa being so condescending to Kyle not knowing how to handle an argument, just being Kyle. And then Turner out of nowhere, just Joseph, I tried to help you, buddy. Like, where is this coming from, Turner? You want to go to the end with a showmance. That's what you're choosing. That's what you're deciding to do. But when the feeds came back to the backyard, it seemed like, okay, the way that Joseph was campaigning, he stood a chance. Like he was campaigning to people as if it could have been possible that Turner maybe, but I had no idea this fight went, or this not fight, but argument went down the way that it did, and that it was over before it started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taran, this happened when the feeds were down, this whole conversation, which again, like trying to factor in like what happened with the feeds being down and trying to triangulate all of that. I think that could be a whole different podcast, as you've attempted to do this week, to try to figure it all out. But so this was all new to us, correct?
Yes, this was happening as we were being told that Turner was on the fence and didn't know where he wanted to go by certain speculators. Yeah, I mean, this was happening when the feeds were down. We did not see any of this. I have reason to believe that perhaps this was the little flash that we got. Just because like the way that like the seat that Joseph was sitting in, we got like a little flash of feeds before they came back properly. And I think perhaps that this is what we were seeing, but yeah, we didn't see it on the feeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kirsten, Joseph was trying to make points, and he's in a tough spot because he's got to get, Turner, or Alyssa to like one of them to be willing to vote against Kyle. And so he's trying to come clean with a bunch of stuff, but like Kyle and Turner have each other's backs. Nothing that he's saying is really going to stick.
Yeah, well, obviously Kyle exposed everything first, so that put Joseph at a major disadvantage. And then Turner decided he was never close to the leftovers, even though he was staying up late with Joseph and Taylor every single night. And then Alyssa finally, finds a backbone to be angry at someone for lying to her. But instead of being appropriately angry at Mr. Two Pump Chump, she's sitting here mad at Joseph. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I would be so much more mad if someone I was dating lied to me for weeks and weeks than someone who was not dating me. I just don't think that makes sense.
It was such like displaced anger. Like, why are you the most upset at Joseph, who was the least loyal to you of the three? If you look at Turner, Kyle, Turner is supposed to be your little bestie who you confided in about the 10 seconds. And then you're not mad at Kyle, the one who was laying with you and involved in everything that you're calling Joseph out for. I am just so, what is wrong with her? Like, why? I was so confused how she was so upset. It would be one thing to just be like, sorry, Joseph, like, I'm most aligned with Kyle. I trust him. But to just be, just expressive and just condescending and just so mad. Like the most pissed we've ever seen Alyssa. The most she's cared about the game since the game started was in this moment mad at Joseph. It was, ugh.
This is sad. Big. This is the one you lay with energy here, right?
Yeah.
Literally, where is Davon?
No, yeah. Alyssa actually talked kind of straight to this yesterday on the feeds. She was talking to Kyle and kind of laid out all of the things that she's really upset with him about, that she's been keeping in. And she felt like she needed to get it out there, and basically alluded to the fact that like she's taking this anger out in other ways other than like directly at him, because she doesn't know how to deal with it at him. So I think, very clearly this was displaced anger at Joseph that was meant for Kyle.
What about the Turner of it all? Turner said something that I don't think that I have heard about Turner previously, that he said that, and now that we're talking about it, I really only feel like I was included in the leftovers because I happened to be HOH that week.
That's totally true. Absolutely. He would not have been included in the alliance.
That way, or it's true that are you saying that that's a good read on his part?
I think it's a good read. I didn't know that he realized it. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good read. I don't think there's a chance he's included in that alliance if he's not the HOH.
I wonder, I know obviously in the backyard with the whole after party situation, Turner can say basically whatever he wants, but I wonder if that was maybe not something that he should have been openly expressing, because I feel like it can then be used against him if they need to redirect,
Mm-hmm.
You're saying if the other side wins?
Yeah, if the other side wins and they are, targeting not Turner, they can kind of use that information to divert it, possibly. I don't know if that would be strong enough to counteract people being pissed at Kyle, but it still gives them even just a kernel of ammunition against him.
It's that there's this part of me, this very small part of me that wants that to happen. I want the inside to win. And then Turner's yeah, Kyle, listen, Terence, we got to stick together. Just make sure we win veto, blah, blah, blah. And then Kyle goes up. I mean, Turner he created the after party, literally what he's done with every single alliance he's been in. No one's going to learn that this man is only loyal to himself and his needs. That's it.
Yeah, truly.
He literally sent Alyssa out in a second. So
literally,
that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it has been interesting to watch. I don't think that this is a game that can be won by Kyle. And I guess that, he could pull some sort of inside straight and potentially get there, because it seems like that people are coming away from this very angry with him. So even if he got to the end playing this way, I don't see how he could do it. But it has been something to behold of the way that he has, every time one alliance is getting a little too hot, he is very willing to, throw it to the curb and start something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been his gameplay. And we've talked about this a lot too, that it's a weird thing to analyze, because he's doing somewhat impressive things here, flipping this side, gathering his forces, and heading into the other side with some game plans to trick them if possible, to win HOH, to take some shots. But he's still not in the best position here, because if the other side wins, they should be coming for him unless he's able to do something else. And the real thing here is that he shouldn't have needed to do this much if he had just done the bare minimum prior to this, by holding his position as the best positioned person within the leftovers between the Pound, Michael, and Brittany, and then also having Alyssa on the outside, pulling Alyssa into the leftovers in the first place, or at the very least saying to the Pound, hey, don't worry, I've got Alyssa. She's our ticket to making it through the leftovers. Whatever the case may be, he had so much influence, and he had the best relationships in that alliance. And his paranoia about a cookout 2.0 pushed him into a direction where he had to do all of this other stuff. And the fact that he has succeeded so far in that other stuff, I guess kudos, but you didn't need to be having to do all this stuff in the first place if you'd just gone down the easier path here. So it's interesting, and we'll see how he's able to handle, being back on the inside, reunited with Michael and Brittany and the other side of the house, what kind of explanations he'll be able to give. And if his side doesn't win HOH, then that's really going to be probably the true and final test of his game.
One of the things I thought was interesting also in the conversation was when Joseph was coming with when Daniel used the veto, okay? Kyle didn't want to use the veto on you and really tried to push this information out there. Had Alyssa known this before, Taran, or Daniel tried to tell her that?
Daniel tried to tell her that. Kyle had outright denied it at that time. And so he was still lying to her at that point. But he did kind of give her the heads up of like, they wanted me to not use it. I would have used it regardless. And so, you know, basically it was a pretty easy fix to just be like, yeah, I was lying to the Alliance about me not being willing to use it. Of course I was willing to use it. And then of course Joseph was like, well, that just goes to prove that you're a liar then. It's just like, well, yeah, to you, but not, you know, well, only a little bit to her, kind of.
Only when it really matters.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I thought it was a great point. Like, of all the points to bring up, not saying Alyssa is emotional. Like, Joseph shouldn't have said that.
That wasn't good.
That wasn't a good
one. Yeah.
Not a good move. But to bring up the vote, because it's only hearsay at that, or his word versus his word to say, oh, I wouldn't have used it. But at least it could have caused something had she not already known, or had they had not already talked about that.
Well,
so what I did.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say I did want Alyssa to peep, like when he exposed leftovers to her, that and the way he did it to Terence was the 4. Then we pulled in Michael and Brittany, and then we needed one more, so we pulled in Taylor. Why is she not like? Why is that one more? Why wasn't that me?
I feel like there's a lot of reasons why there should have been alarm bells going off for her. Like, even the fact that what Joseph is saying aligns completely with the private conversation she had with Daniel should at least set something off. But Kyle doesn't have to put in a large effort to get her back on his side. So it kind of, you know, makes things a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day here, like Joseph's problem this week was, I mean, obviously he was on the back foot to begin with, but I think to be more effective, he had to be more willing to lie. And he was just trying to tell the truth. And he felt like the most damning things he could say about Kyle were like, oh, well, he wasn't going to use the veto. Like, he was on board with these things. But those things are like easy to fudge. I feel like what he should have done is I loved his line about like, no, Kyle's the one that started the alliance. Instead of talking about all the ways that they were trying to coerce Kyle into taking out Alyssa, he should have been talking about how Kyle from the very beginning told us not to include Alyssa. He told us that she runs her mouth. He told us that she's a huge threat and that she needs to go. And we were all like, okay, he was the one that came up with the plan to not use the veto on Alyssa. He was the one that came up with the plan to target Alyssa. And we were all just following his orders. And now the second he was in any bit of trouble, he decided to act like he wasn't the one leading this whole alliance. He has all of those people on the other side under his, influence. I'm the one on the outs. Like, he's managed to convince all of you. He's the one that's great at this game. I'm the one sitting here on the block. Like, I feel like that's the story he needed to sell. But he was like, well, but here's the truth though.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even the specific detail of saying that Alyssa ratted out Old School would have made, I think, a lot more inroads than the specific facts that he brought up.
He did, I think, try to. That one? Yeah, I think he should have
started with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is a little bit of a different direction that I want to go, but Joseph, does he have an argument to make for Big Brother player screwed most all time by a twist?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
it's
the
conversation.
I don't think he's in the conversation, because somebody asked me this earlier today and I was thinking about it. I think he was screwed by the twist, sure. Yeah. In the sense that like it definitely made things harder for him. But if you think about like, okay, let's say Michael wins this HOH, he probably takes out Jasmine. There are a few people now looking to take the shot at Joseph at 7. Kyle, Alyssa, maybe even Turner at that point. Certainly Terence still. So that's potentially 4 people competing in the HOH looking to take the shot at Joseph. It's not like there was no chance Joseph leaves before final 8. I'm saying 7. I mean 9. It's not like there was no chance he was ever going to leave before final 8, and then this twist came out of nowhere and like completely dethroned his position. it just made it a lot harder for him to survive because he did have some outs to survive. But I wouldn't say it was like an all-time like screw over.
So who is
no
the player?
offense, but I've been more screwed by a twist than Joseph was. Just for the record. I'm right here, Rob.
Fair. That's fair.
It has to be said.
Yeah.
Yes.
But with regards to Big Brother US, like Jody, all those night one boots are more screwed. Like he got to play.
I think even with that though, I think he could be in the conversation for like top 7 most screwed over, because if you think about it, even if those
there were 7 in the leftovers.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if those people were
So
going
specific.
after him, I know.
I
didn't
want
want
the
to say
full
10.
rundown of 7 to 1, please, right now.
All right, who else is in the all screwed over leftovers?
Well, here's 1 through 6.
Yeah, the first 6 came to mind, and the next had to be Joseph. But he would have, even if those people would have come after him soon, like the next week, he was still working with some votes. I think that's the biggest thing here, was he was having to fight for 2 votes, and he wouldn't have been in that situation had it been final 9.
Mm-hmm. If we had to have an answer, though, to who is the Big Brother person, because
Most
we're gonna get
screwed by a twist.
Yeah, is it Jesse BB11? I see in the chat.
Eric,
I'm almost tempted to say Eric, just because of the frequency with which he was screwed
of
over.
that is huge.
He wasn't screwed over just like one big time. It was like just every second of every day he was just being drained.
Yeah,
that's a big one. Jody, obviously.
Shima, I think, is a huge one.
Shima for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Along with Jesse, obviously Jesse's the one that also like just straight up goes. But
Joseph, you're in good company.
Right.
Okay, should we talk about it then? I just want to highlight this before we start to get to the inside people. Terence said this in the episode.
Call themselves Mojo.
That Mojo was a thing?
Very loosely. I mean, like this whole Monty Joseph final 2 has never actually existed in any real way. It's always been like the fear, but Monty was always closer to Kyle. And until Kyle started pushing hard for Alyssa, like last week, basically. So it was never a thing to really be that worried about. In fact, the way that Monty talked about Joseph game-wise was always kind of like a little exasperated, a little bit like, Joseph doing his thing again. Like, he's a little much sometimes. So it was really just like this perception that they were such a thing, much more so than they actually were.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they were the best friends that have ever been friends, they're not in a sexual relationship and have not proven time and time again that they will align with each other over
Kirsten,
anyone else.
The feeds have been down for more than 10 seconds at a time. You can't rule anything out.
I think that the 10 seconds might apply to some house guests more than others.
Yeah. Well, what's more concerning, a bromance or a showmance?
Showmance, hands down.
I feel like you can easily turn bros against each other, but once you're together.
I mean, I could see the argument where, okay, well, you have Joseph and Monty, 2 big guys who can win stuff, where the showmance is like, okay, well, Alyssa's not going to turn on Kyle, but Alyssa is kind of not going to win anything. I'm not.
You said
so
that about
concerned.
Terence last week.
I guess so. But I think I'm a little bit more concerned about like these 2 guys potentially winning, HOH and Vito down the stretch, where I feel like maybe I'm not as concerned about, Kyle and Alyssa going on a run.
It's also kind of like a false setup. Like, that wasn't really the choice that was being made. It wasn't like, oh, I'm choosing between a showmance and a bromance. It was much more so that, like, okay, with Joseph on the block, I trust Kyle more, and in order to have a unified side, I can't go against what Alyssa wants. Like there are a lot of reasons why Kyle stayed over Joseph. Very few of which really had anything to do with Joseph's connection to Monty. I think that was just a show reason, especially since they can't show the wall yeller.
Yeah, the show also really was making a point of Terence as some sort of mastermind. I know the feeds were down for a long time, but I don't think things changed that much in that period of time.
Mm-hmm. So one of the other interesting moments from the episode was during that fight. Taran alluded to it earlier, but we had Turner offer to stop talking.
Out of respect for you, America, I stopped this incredibly tense situation just, for audio purposes. I think we're good. Yeah, all right. So.
What the hell are we doing? What I mean, to me, this would I feel like that traditionally, I think that this would be the thing that production would be like, hey, don't talk about production. Don't worry about it. Just, have your authentic conversation. Don't acknowledge the plane overhead and shut down the dramatic conversation that's happening. Let alone put it in the episode.
Jasmine's inside. Taran, I keep doing that. Turner has no other.
Get offended.
I know. I mean, the T and the N in both of y'all's names.
I'm surprised it's not Terence that's being the one you're messing up.
Yeah, every time you go to say Taran instead of Turner, just go Terence. Say something else.
But Turner
DJ
lost
Showtime.
his bit. He lost his bit with Jasmine being inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, something else.
Rob, I do think that under normal circumstances, you're right. They would never call attention to this, but I there's a reason I played that out. This is the show where on Sunday night, this was a genuine part of their episode.
Maybe they got the complaints. Maybe they heard Taran on the podcast like, oh, man, the audio outside is trash. All right, guys, listen.
I think so.
Did they not have ears? They couldn't figure it out for themselves?
Yeah, there's no way that the people making the show didn't know how trash that audio was and felt like, okay, this is a way to call that out.
Yeah, but it's just so odd that they had it like that. I could even see okay, let's do it, but to call it out in the show is just so meta. Even in Survivor, okay, let's hold for audio. If you were doing a confessional, they'd say, okay, all right, let's hold on. The sound guy would be like, okay, there's a plane coming. Okay, let's hold for the audio. Okay. But you would never interrupt, hold on, we're gonna stop an important conversation, and then just so weird that they did that, but it's been a weird season. Also, we have the speeches outside, and I just want to ask one other question from Kyle's speech. He said this.
To quote one of the most infamous bromances this show has ever seen, Terence, Alyssa, Turner, let's go to war.
Am I missing out? Who said let's go to war?
I mean, historically, we used to go to war, and now we watch Big Brother, so that's something.
Yeah, but he quoted one of the greatest showmen.
To quote one of the most infamous bromances this show has ever seen, Terence, Alyssa, Turner, let's go to war.
I mean, this is not something that Chilltown said after the show, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, what is he talking about?
The way that they've talked, it's possible he's quoting Pooch. It's the seasons he's watched, he might be thinking of romances.
He's quoting something that happened earlier this season that didn't make the edit.
They've made references like that about Pooch before. That's why I'm thinking Pooch.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of other seasons he's watched, and nothing really stands out to me. Obviously, Winston and Brett are
that's what the chat is saying.
The instant bromance you'd think of.
I do not recall.
I mean, Winston likes guns.
Classic Winston quote. Yeah.
So maybe.
I don't know.
Google's giving me nothing.
Okay.
Someone said Winston declared war on Scotty.
Yes.
I mean, that sounds like something that could have happened.
So we're out here quoting Winston and Brett.
Yeah.
Hey, Winston, a Love Island USA alum as well.
Yes. Okay. So Joseph ends up, he gets voted out 2-0, that they clear out the inside of the house. He goes to go and talk with Julie, and, that he's going to, stick to his story that it was all for the leftovers. All about the team. Did not like how Kyle was playing the game. Aysha, any highlights from Julie's conversation with Joseph?
I just thought, I mean, I was just very glad he had a live audience. I feel like he needed that. It really showed him the love and care that we have for him right now. He looked genuinely happy. He did just, I mean, he seemed very he was sad. His team betrayed him. And I honestly do think he was going to ride for the leftovers as long as he could. He wasn't going to be the one to turn. And I think he's just sitting in that betrayal. I thought his walk through the house was so sweet. It's just like, he was just trying to keep it together, and he smiled before he opened the door because he was prepared. But yeah, I don't think there was anything major. And I know people are like, all the Jailer fans out there are.
Well, Julie might be a Jailer fan. Yeah,
I think so. It was a couple questions.
She loves love. Yes.
Hey, he wants Taylor to call him.
Yeah. Should he have given the classic Derek X drop? Expect the unexpected, Julie.
Oh, I love it.
I know they had to keep everything separate, but when Joseph was walking through the house alone, so sad, I just wanted to be like, just let him say goodbye to Taylor. Just let him say goodbye to Taylor. I don't care about integrity right now. I just let him say goodbye.
This could have been another redo on this twist. Instead of the big reveal with both sides seeing each other, let the insiders, you are at a nicer festival, you get better treatment, let them stand at the balcony as Joseph walks out, and then they see him, and it's like a don't say anything type situation. I know you can't control that.
I think let them watch on the monitor, maybe.
Oh, yeah,
would have been.
Big Brother Canada would have done that.
Oh my god. No, Big Brother Canada would have given them like 15 minutes to talk to Joseph for no reason. Another thing, since we're talking about the festivals of it all, I've never been to Coachella, but from what I've seen, it's outdoors, as all music festivals are. So it's just such a weird situation to be like, yes, they're both music festivals, but one is inside and one is outside, because they're both situations when people are sleeping in tents.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, now that you say it, I think that was the one flaw with all of this.
Yeah, that's the one flaw. Yeah.
Let's head inside of the site of Big Brochella and go through. Jasmine had the first eviction. The timing of the episode, the pacing did really throw me off. Taran, that I think that they came back for like previously on Big Brother had like one scene like, all right, commercial. Usually that first segment is like, a good 15 minutes on the eviction episode.
Yeah, it was like less than 9 minutes here, and then we went to commercial, and then we came back, and we almost basically just went straight into the vote. It was very fast. I'm not mad at that particularly. There wasn't a lot going on that side that was worth showing. So if we want to speed through it, I'm fine with that. We kind of just got it out of the way so that we could get to the more interesting stuff outside. So that was fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, we get to our speeches, and Monty, he gives his speeches and then ends it with,
shout out to the island girl from Barbados. We love you, Rihanna.
I think we should call it Big Rihanna here this season. All right. We welcome it.
Aysha, isn't Rihanna getting sick of this?
I would imagine this might have been the first season in a while Rihanna was just like, I'm busy. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, but she has a new baby. This is the perfect time to be watching Big Brother. Like, everyone I know who watches Big Brother who also has children, it's like, it was so great being on mat leave during Big Brother, watching the live feeds, up all night breastfeeding, watching the feeds. So, and now she probably has to give up the show because she's so embarrassed for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with what Taylor said last night was like, what'd she say about Rihanna when she saw Tiffany?
She's like, Rihanna who?
Rihanna who?
Which, first of all,
don't do Rihanna like that. I love Tiffany.
Are we negging Rihanna?
We love Tiffany, obviously. I would never say a bad thing about her. But respect Rihanna, please. Don't say Rihanna who.
Mm-hmm.
How dare
They're
you?
both amazing women. Don't compare.
Yeah, why are we pitting two strong women against each other?
That's fair. That's a good point.
Rihanna never asked to be involved in this in any way. Like
he DM'd Casey one time and then has been regretting it ever since.
Yeah. This is the problem of like trying to do comedy with no audience there. Like in their minds, this is like such a hoot. They're just like, oh, ready? I'm gonna do the Rihanna shout out. Oh, Julie responded this time. Did you see? She said it should be Big Rihanna. Oh my God, they must love it out there. And it's just like, oh.
Julie doing us dirty one more time.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Monty's speech, and then Jasmine. First starts with, of course.
Julie, you look prettier than a fresh pan of cornbread.
Julie did retweet her face on a fresh pan of cornbread.
Listen, out of all the foods that she has compared Julie to, cornbread is the one I would most want to eat.
Yes. Okay. Well, and that did tie in BB24, of course.
CBS wants that.
Multiverse.
Yeah,
Yes.
They want that.
She could have dropped an F y'all on the way out of the house.
Was that code for her saying F y'all to everyone?
Oh. No.
Yeah.
That's
if I played Big Brother and I wanted to sneakily say F y'all to everyone, I would just make a cornbread reference.
Cornbread. Yeah. Okay.
I would make everyone cornbread the morning that I was evicted. I'd be like, here's your cornbread.
Yes. But that Jasmine, and I didn't clip it, but Jasmine does like 45 seconds of shout outs and then proceeds to give like a speech of why they should keep her.
Well, I mean, last week they let Indy talk for like 10 and a half minutes after she was evicted before she left. Like the rules are out the window. Remember when Julie used to be like, reset right now. Like you can't have 1.5 seconds. No, now it's like, take your time, do what you want. It's fine.
Yeah. The Chaz reminded me, yes, she did an ad also for some company, right?
I think it was her Press On Nails company.
That's her company?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And she was shouting out people that I'm positive they were made up names. So shout out Lucy Goosey, Peter, Frank, so many people.
She's shouting out the women from Mambo number 5.
Little bit of Monica in my life, little bit of Rita by my side, a little tequila.
Is all I need.
Yeah. So. Oh my God! So that's Jasmine's game in a nutshell. Yeah, Luna Boona. Yeah, was one of the things she shouted out.
Liana liked that one. Liana Biana loved that one.
That's her name from now on.
Liana Biana from Science.
Okay. All right. So she ends up getting voted out. She says, give hugs to the Zingbot for me. That is, the thing that we really did lose this week was the opportunity for the Zingbot to meet Jasmine.
Yeah, I felt like she even did like a little bit of a Zingbot impression. She was,
give hugs to Zingbot for me.
Hugs.
Give hugs to Zingbot.
That was her. I know the camera is on me right now, so I got to turn on my Jasmine voice.
To be fair, she did say this to them like mid-crying last night.
Yeah.
So she really does want them to give hugs. The problem with giving hugs to Zingbot is that like the poor person is going to pass out from heat exhaustion if you like crowd them too much. So don't hug Zingbot. They don't need the body heat.
Yeah. Zingbot might be tough to like wrap your arms around also.
Oh, I feel like it'd be fun to wrap your arms around Zingbot. It's like
one of the big guys will have to do it.
Yeah,
it's like a squishmallow, but like doesn't squish.
You don't know that.
Actually, you know what? Very true. I don't know that. I just assume.
What if somebody went to hug Zingbot and it just squished right into the person?
Yeah.
And then they really pass out from heat exhaustion. I mean, fortunately, the person in the suit's not talking, so it would just like silently fall over.
Yeah. I guess if the Zingbot is that squishy, is he basically a pool floaty?
No,
Oh no. That's not what Jasmine meant, Rob.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
the Zingbot probably would then be made of like memory foam or something much better than a pool floaty.
Yeah. He ideally would be a better mattress than a pool float.
I should hope.
If he was squishy. Okay. All right. So Jasmine sits with Julie. I thought it was interesting that she wanted to know who to feel most betrayed by. Aysha, she said Alyssa is the person. She's most, they must have really blamed everything on Alyssa in the inside house.
Yeah, they all sat down with her yesterday. Well, everybody except Monty to explain that the reason this was happening was because Alyssa told them everything about old school, about the girls, about five swatters. Alyssa, man, it
was all her fault.
What can you do? But
from outside, she, orchestrated Jasmine's demise. She's so powerful. She wasn't even there.
Her mind. Oh my God. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious because imagine that comes back around. Like we're at the end. Alyssa's in the final two. And she's like, I just need one more vote. I know I have Jasmine. Just no. I feel as betrayed as a cow who was left outside.
The ideal is that situation. And then Jasmine's like, no, I'm not voting for you. And then she pulls a Topaz and votes her off.
I have to imagine Jasmine will get the real story in the jury, whether it's from Kyle or Turner or like even Terence at this point. I mean, if Terence went to the jury, he could go to the jury now going like, what are you talking about? They said it was Amira.
Can we also talk about how, like, 2 weeks ago at most, Jasmine was using a cane in the pool and she like sprinted out the door like she was in the Olympics?
She said in the diary room, she's playing it up.
Yeah, but like, how much do you think they really had to prompt her to get her to say that?
You can okay. I feel like once she admits that she's faking it, we can no longer be like, oh look, she's faking it. Like she told us.
The idea that this woman had a cane in the pool is still the funniest thing in the world to me. Like just taking it to new levels.
Yeah.
Did y'all notice how she lost her diary room voice as she talked to Julie? She's got regular Jasmine.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, I think most people do.
Jasmine also, Taran, for as much as we make fun of Jasmine, that she did kind of have a good read on what was going to happen outside. I don't know if she's parroting what she's heard from other people, but she did basically like have it all down to, that Terence is going to put Kyle and Joseph on the block and Joseph's going to go home.
Well, she didn't anticipate that it would have been Turner first, and that the only reason Kyle's on the block is because of a wall yeller. But other than that, she predicted that he would target Joseph. But that's not surprising because Terence wanted to target Joseph, before he went out there. So I think that it was definitely a correct prediction on the result, but not really on the steps to get there.
Look, this is Jasmine, okay? Yeah. But, I'm surprised she didn't say, like, people on the block outside were, like, Nicole and Pooch.
It was more accurate than her muffin read.
Sure. Sure. Okay. And then, Kirsten, Julie started shading Jasmine about her birthday. She said, you celebrated your birthday, your birth week, your birth month. And Jasmine said, hey, I'm a Leo. We want to have it all.
Absolutely. The classic Leo behavior. Honestly, not surprising at all. And she owned it, and that's great.
Yeah, that's a fun moment. Yeah. All right.
I love that.
We got some goodbye messages also for Jasmine. We didn't talk about the goodbye messages for Joseph. Those are going to be on CBS Instagram. Taran, are the goodbye messages for Joseph going to be nice, or are they going to continue to be mean to Joseph?
I mean, as per usual, there was a lot of like talk of like, I'm gonna be like, see you never, like whatever, like lame. But I very much doubt I think we're gonna get like, it was such a great pleasure knowing you. We did this because you're such a good person and you're so good at this game, and you're just gonna be loyal to the other. I think we're gonna get lame ones. I think that's why they didn't show them.
All right. So we will find out later on when they post those on Instagram. Okay, so Michael kicked things off. Talked about how we recognized that you were a threat and was in the 7-person alliance. Did this whole thing. I think we'll see this for all of Michael's goodbye messages for the non-leftovers once again. Okay, so that was Michael's goodbye message. Jasmine's like, oh my god. Then Monty says, see you on finale night. Brittany says she was part of a 7-person alliance, but Jasmine not happy with that. And then Taylor talked about how that she would never put a black woman on the block. So Michael and Brittany revealing the leftovers to Jasmine.
And was it Michael and Brittany both who said see you at finale, or was it
Monty said see you at finale? I'm not sure if both
there was
of them,
at least 2 people said that, if not 3. And I was like, oh, I like the confidence.
I didn't even think of it like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost as bad as wearing your finale dress in the house.
Sure.
Well, I mean, that's just a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So Aysha, I thought it was interesting that Julie said, so what did you think about what Michael said? And Jasmine says she loves Michael.
Right. She didn't pick up on that at all. Like she didn't pick up on the fact that he had revealed an alliance to her, because Julie's thinking, I didn't get my chance to reveal the leftovers because this is the jury, but Michael just did it. So now I can get that response. And Julie, I love Michael. So
yeah.
I think it just went completely over her head. I mean, Julie was looking for that leftover reaction, but I think at this point, they did so much yesterday in that conversation with her about why she was leaving. I think it was just too much coming at her at once. I don't know if maybe we'll get a real reaction in the jury once they really start talking about the leftovers, but we'll see.
Yeah. Terence, was the order off for you on the order that they showed them? Because I feel like that to open with the list of names feels weird. I feel like that typically it would end with something like that.
I mean, I think giving her the context first kind of makes sense. This was the alliance, and it's not that much of a surprise because they did sit her down and they basically explained what was happening. They just weren't very explicit about it. I thought the most telling thing was obviously the eye roll at Brittany, which coincides with just the attitude that Brittany had with her last night. And then the I love Michael, which is very much in tune with what Indy was saying, and similar thoughts that Indy had based on the 2 ways that they both interacted with each jury member. Michael doing very good jury management work, but very blatant jury management work to the people in the house. They all see that he's doing good jury management work, and it's threatening to them. So, interesting stuff.
All right. Anything else from Jasmine's eviction from the house? It was
nothing memorable.
Yeah. I mean, this was, like all business tonight. We had, 2 evictions to get to. Not a lot of other time for nonsense in the episode. Was there anything from the episode proper that we didn't get to talk about?
I mean, I liked the concept of this twist. I liked seeing the people outside, gather together like they're going to war. I mean, Kyle even said it.
Let's go to war.
Let's go to war. Because there was this sense that and I talked about this on stream, but it's like ancient Rome, and Michael has sent out his top general in Kyle to go and do his dirty work for him, outside of the city. And Kyle has now amassed this army that's loyal to him, unbeknownst to Michael. And, now he's at the gates of Rome and he's ready to come back in and take over with his new army. And it's they're ready. They're prepared to go to war. And it's interesting. And I like that setup. If they had just executed this twist better, I think that this could have been a lot more fun. But we are now at the final 8 with 2 distinct sides, and that is really interesting.
Yeah. One of the things that I had heard talked about during the week was that the people inside the house were going to separately interview the people from outside the house and ask them about the week that went by, and then get back together and compare notes on those stories. Taran, was that still the plan to have that happen?
They hadn't really talked about it. This is the problem with making plans in the game, is that you talk about doing these things, but unless you actually plot it out, you're probably going to forget to do them properly. The feeds did come back while this podcast was running. They're now down again. But in the time that we saw, we did see them talking individually to various people. Whether they actually like sync up and really, you know, dig down into like trying to figure out if they are telling the truth or not, we'll have to wait and see, because, you know, again, the feeds are down for now. And I think, again, it will also matter a lot just who wins HOH, because if the insiders are in power, then yeah, they'll have all the time in the world to really analyze the stories and figure out who's telling the truth. If the outsiders win, then it's like, no, I believe you. Yeah, whatever you said is 100% true. I'm with you on this. So we're going to have to wait and see, I think.
Kirsten, do you think that we will see different people potentially going up on the block depending on who the HOH is, or that basically like the inside people are set on who their nominees are going to be and the outside people are set on who their nominees would be?
I feel like it's pretty set, but this has been like a fairly erratic house. So depending on what people are saying, that could change. But I feel like there is a very obvious target for each side to be shooting at if they are going to stay loyal in their fours.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel, I don't know why I feel this way. Well, I guess I do. I feel like if the inside house guests win HOH, there's more room for Turner to get back in with them if he chooses to do so. If he's like, I don't, you know, I just want to be safe. I'm just trying to preserve myself. But if somebody from the outside wins, then it's a completely new game. So I feel like the inside, you know, they're still loyal to what was happening before last week.
Yeah, the outside is much more locked in terms of their plan. They've really rehearsed it. They've discussed it. They know what they need to do. They're going in with a rehearsed story, with a game plan if they win HOH to nominate whoever they're going to nominate. And like they're locked in. The insiders are more prone to being manipulated into doing something different. There's a few different options that the outsiders have. One is if Brittany isn't the HOH and it's Taylor or Monty, they could throw Michael and Brittany under the bus for all of the things that they talked to Kyle about prior to the house splitting. They can say that Michael intentionally split the house in such a way that would send Joseph home. There's all kinds of things they can use to try and throw him under the bus. And if that doesn't work and it's going to be one of them, they can say, hey, we're still leftovers strong. It's always been leftovers, or that's probably going to be the first option. But they'll probably tell Terence that they're doing the other option. And then, okay, Terence is going to go if that's the case. And then, yeah, you also have Turner having the option of like being like, hey, Monty, pound, right? Like there are a lot of options that they have to get in and change up the what the insiders might do. But I think they're still most likely to just go straight at Kyle.
You know, it's so funny that last week we had the 2-hour show and it was Terence versus Indy on the block. And I know that I said that it's like, you know what? It's like there's so much drama in the house, but the least important thing is who goes home this week. And ultimately, like the decision to send Indy out over Terence completely changed the whole, like maybe the second half of the season.
Yeah. Taylor said it in her DR. She said, I wanted Terence out. And now look at us.
Yeah.
With good reason. She was right.
Who was the person, Taran, who was the driving force to keep Terence and vote out Indy?
There wasn't a huge driving force for that. There was a lot of initially there was a lot of push to get rid of Indy because she performed well in the endurance competition, but they kind of backed off of that, and a lot of them decided that Terence would be the better play. But then Kyle specifically, when he didn't want to use the veto to save Alyssa, was like, no, I think Indy needs to go. That was the excuse that he used. And so even though a lot of them had kind of been back and forth, I think that Kyle's big push was like, okay, if I'm not using the veto, then it's Indy. I want Indy gone for reasons. And that's why I'm not using the veto. So they're like, all right, I guess Indy is the target then. And they ended up just kind of going with that.
Yeah. All right. I want to start to invite the chat. If you have questions, go ahead and let's post them in the chat and we can take them here on the show. And this is an interesting one from Rodolfo, who wants to know, do you think that Alyssa telling Michael and Brittany that it was a 2-0 vote at the end of the episode will out Kyle and Turner?
No.
Okay. What is the story that they are saying from the outside, Taran?
Well, the planned story is it kind of will change depending on their situation, but basically they're gonna act like Joseph was the one running around outing the leftovers, saying all these things, and that Terence was always targeting Joseph from jump, and that he won the veto, so there was ultimately nothing they could do. And the reason why, Turner went with Alyssa to vote out Joseph is because Joseph was the one running around, and Joseph is the one that would have gone anyway, even if he hadn't voted with Alyssa. So, it only makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that people will buy that story?
No, but it depends on, again, like who's in power. Like if they're not in power, they'll buy whatever. Like they don't have a lot of incentive to not buy it. If they are in power, I think that they will start to question more. And I think that ultimately they won't believe it. That would be my prediction.
Okay. This is a question from Sheila, who says, why didn't Joseph reveal about how Alyssa spilling about old school helped Kyle know who to get in the leftovers?
He did. We just didn't see it in the episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did he do it to Alyssa or to Terence only?
I don't know. He planned on saying it to Terence, I'm sure, because they talked about it afterwards. So obviously the feeds were down. I think specifically when he mentioned it, I'm sure it came up in that big conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I wish he would have presented it like, I guess we don't know exactly how, but I wish he would have said it like, the leftovers wouldn't even be a thing if Kyle didn't have that information that you told him. We formed purely off of the information from you.
But. Yeah, and starting with that, I think, I don't know if it would have made a difference, but it seems like something that possibly could have.
Yeah.
Okay. Winnie wants to know this question, which is who's in the best spot going into this week?
I've been saying it's Taylor. I think that she is best positioned at this time because the biggest two threats on both sides are Michael Monty and Kyle Turner. And that leaves Taylor in a spot where she has time to kind of like continue to go down toward the end while still having great win equity, especially if she's there with the four remaining people, Alyssa, Terence, and Brittany. So I'm feeling best about Taylor, but it is a wide open field.
Yeah, and it's a thing where, like, in theory, it should be Taylor, but depending on who wins HOH, if it's someone from the outsiders, like, she could end up a target for literally no reason, because that's what seems to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Taylor was on the block with Monty, say at the end of the week, would the House vote out Taylor?
No, they'd vote out Monty as of now, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only person she could sit beside where she would go home is Brittany.
Yeah, which I don't think would happen.
That seems like, a weird HOH to go.
Right.
I mean, maybe I could see it where if it's the nominees are Michael and Brittany, and then Michael gets the veto and comes down, and it's like, but I guess they put Monty up in that spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like Brittany is safer, but has less win equity. So Taylor for me is that sweet spot of like really safe, not 100% safe, but really safe, while also having a good chance to win comps in the end and to win in the end if she's sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Geneva was just on the podcast last night. Hey. What do you think Terence will do if an insider wins HOH? Do you think he'll expose Kyle? Now, Terence has been the guy, DJ Showtime. He goes wherever the wind blows. Is it possible? Could DJ Showtime be the one to flip on the outsiders?
I think this is an interesting question because that obviously has been the assumption. But I think there are a couple of complications. One is that Kyle, Turner, and Alyssa, again, they have a play that they can make, which is throwing Michael and Brittany under the bus. And, they can sort of like soothe Terence temporarily, possibly, by saying, don't blow anything up. We're going to throw Michael and Brittany under the bus. We're going to try and get them to target Michael and Brittany. We need to stick together in order to make that happen. And he may stay quiet temporarily because of that. And then if he does stay quiet, or even if he doesn't, if he tries to rat them out later or even early, it'll be easier if he does it later. Then you can still have Kyle, Alyssa, and Turner say, Terence is lying. He got all this info from Joseph. We already told you Joseph was the one that ratted him out. Now that Terence is on the block, now that he's in trouble, he's trying to spin it so that he can get the target onto somebody else. But it was always Joseph that did this. Now, how believable is that? Not very. But I think that those are going to be the attempts to prevent a Terence just immediately ratting them out.
What's the
Terence
alternative,
loves
though?
chaos. He
That's
loves
true.
it. He's driving the bus and everyone else is getting thrown under it. Okay. So
Mastermind.
I could very much see him just instantly ratting everyone out. I feel like he's never had any filter when talking.
But what's the alternative for the outside? Did they discuss if Brittany wins HOH in order to keep Terence silent?
Okay, yeah. So if Brittany wins HOH and targets, like, say, Terence, like puts up Terence, then yeah, I think they don't have that play of throwing Michael and Brittany under the bus. So he's probably more likely to start, speaking earlier. And they'd probably still have to like push really hard. I think in that spot, you'd probably see Alyssa and Kyle lean heavily on their relationship with Michael and Brittany, saying like, hey, we did everything you wanted us to on the outside. Like, we're with you. Let's take out Terence, and then it'll be us against Monty and Taylor, and like all that. I think that's less likely to work. I think Brittany is the person worst for them to win at this point.
Okay. Speaking of Terence, Super Lunch Tray wants to know, does Terence have any win equity after this week? Is there anybody that Terence could sit next to and win?
First of all, Super Lunch Tray, loved your work in this week's veto competition.
Yes. Friend of Terence.
I feel like he's just not respected, but he has won 2 comps now, so maybe Terence will go on a comp run.
It's certainly better than it was, right?
Yeah.
He's won 2 comps. He took out Joseph. He's still a massive uphill battle, but he's also in a Final Four with 2 people I think he has a shot in hell to beat.
Could he beat Kyle?
Right, in Kyle and Alyssa. I think that he could. There's a chance that people are bitter enough against Kyle that they'd vote for Terence, and there's a chance that they don't respect Alyssa even more than they don't respect Terence, because at least Terence has won some things and made some moves. So, certainly way better a position than he was in last week, where he was basically drawing dead.
I mean, that could be something fun to watch for. Like, should the after party, should they end up like winning out here or going to the end? So Kyle, Alyssa, and Terence are in the final 3. Okay.
Oh my God.
Kyle wins the final 3 HOH, stabs Alyssa in the back. Okay. Takes Terence to the final 2 and loses to Terence.
I feel like we need to sage this podcast. Take it back, Rob. Why did you put that into the universe? Like, how dare you?
Look, that's the reverse jinx on those guys.
Oh my God.
Okay. Anything else that we want to make sure we discuss here tonight while we're together? Because after this, the 4 of us, we know the plan. Okay. After this, we know what we're doing, right?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
2, 3.
After party.
After party.
After party.
Yes.
In my experience, after parties,
not good.
So good. Not a good idea. It's first of all, you shouldn't. At the point where it's an after party, you should just go home and go to bed. Nothing good is going to happen. Second of all,
that's fair.
Just everyone's out here chewing gum and being weird. Like, just It's no good.
I have a question about after parties because I feel like there are two kinds of after party. One is that it's after the party. It's the thing that happens after the party. The other is that it's the party that comes after. Right?
Oh.
Well,
so which one is the more official definition
the
of
party
the
that comes after what?
After the event, say like a podcast event, and we have an after party.
Like two events. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what, after the Dyer Fest, you go to the after party.
But there are also parties that have after parties, which are the things that happen after the party.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at the original,
what you mean by that one, Taran. I really don't know what you're talking about.
If you look at the original party like an event, then
like
it applies to all.
Yeah, like a planned like second location versus like the bar is closed. Like, where's the after party?
And also, never go to a secondary location. Like, it's just a matter of personal safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that really the main difference, Taran, I think is the start time, where it's sort of like some sort of like scheduled after party might be starting at like 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m., whereas like the like really like grungy after party is like at 4 a.m.
Okay.
What party is over by 10:30?
Well, I went to a wedding.
Party, like a wedding, and then the after party is going to be something. Yeah. So like a proper event followed by like the Oscars, go to an after party.
So we're talking.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like after hours clubs.
Yeah, so we're saying that these after partiers, they're the 4 a.m. grunge after party.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good. It's the thing where like just go home, nothing good is going to happen.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Right.
No, but you should go home. Like you preferably you'll go home.
Yeah.
They're the four people at the fifth bar, like, yeah, we're still partying.
Yeah, in Austin, I used to get the bars closed at 2, but then there was one bar that would close at 4. So we would always go there. And that's the bar where it's just like, you don't know what you're doing. No one knows where they're at. It is just, that's them.
They're not in their right minds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about where we go from here. Of course, the after party starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, Taran?
Yep. Come join us on the after party update. We will probably have some HOH results for you, and what the plan is for the rest of the week and potentially the rest of this season, as this HOH is quite important. So we will update you on everything tomorrow morning.
Okay, so 11 a.m. live feed update, and then over at 3 p.m. we are going to have our patron BB Q&A. You want to call in, talk with Taran and I. We'll answer your questions. We'll go through our exit interviews with Joseph and with Jasmine, and talk about anything else going on, review what's coming in terms of nominations and everything else over on the BB Q&A for the patrons of Rob Has a Podcast. That's going to be on Friday at 3 p.m. Okay? And then we also got the chance with Brittany D'Angelo. Taran, I had so much fun talking with Brittany on Wednesday.
Yeah, she was a pleasure to talk to. Great energy, very excited and enthusiastic to talk game with us and hang out. It's a good time.
She had fun stories from Big Brother 23 and much more. So check that out. That is up for everybody in the Rob Has a Podcast feed. Okay, and then what's coming up? This could be a double edition. Get ready, double dose of David and Ovi for why Jasmine lost. Why Joseph lost. Check that out in the Big Brother podcast feed for week number 7. Of course, the challenge was week 8 this week. Last week, Kirsten was filling in for Allie Lasher with Jenny Autumn on the challenge RHAP Up. This week, Allie is back with Brian for a recap of episode number 8. Also, Brian and I talked with the latest person eliminated from the Challenge USA in an exit interview earlier today. Check that all out at robhasawebsite.com. Then, the Zaddy calendar 2023. Can you believe it is right around the corner? Bryce Isaiah joined me to talk about all of the Zaddies coming your way for 2023. Zaddy calendar used to be survivors only. Bryce has opened it up, as you see here on the cover. Here is the winner of BB23 for 2023. It's Xavier.
Oh boy.
Great call from Bryce. Great
call. Great call. And so there is find out everything you need to know about the Zaddy calendar. And of course, we're covering Claim to Fame all season long. We're 7 episodes in. Jenny Autumn and I talked with the very funny Jake Fogelness. Kirsten and I talked to him on The Slop, where he was playing the part of Daniel's publicist a couple of weeks ago. So he joined us to talk about everything that's going on Claim to Fame. Okay. And then, of course, over on post-show recaps, you can hear not just myself talking about the latest episode of House of the Dragon. Taran also is talking House of the Dragons over on post-show recaps. So check that all out over on postshowrecaps.com. Okay. Aysha, what's going on over on Married at First Sight?
Yeah, so we talked about episode 8 this week. We had we recorded right before this podcast. We had the amazing Sarah Carradine join us. Last week, Puya joined us. So that was his first time on our podcast, and he had a great time. Well, I hope he had a great time. We had a great time with him, but Sarah was great.
He did.
Yeah, Sarah was great today. We're this season has been interesting to say the least. But yeah, definitely lots of dog talk. Lots of dog talk.
Lots of dog talk.
Yeah, we had a situation where a couple, their dogs met and one attacked the other, and he was bleeding and had to go get stitches.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So trouble in paradise with that couple, naturally. But yeah, we've been having a great time talking about season 15. So go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed to listen to all the podcasts.
Okay, and then we've also got Kirsten, what's going on over on Love Island?
Yeah, so
they're voting on Claim to Fame.
Yeah, basically. We are getting to the end of the Love Island USA season. It has been a super fun season, and Scally and I are breaking it all down.
Okay. Check that out over on the Hot Dummies on Islands podcast. And then, Kirsten, what's happening on Mess Magnets?
Yeah, this week, Puya stepped in for me. And they went all about the YouTube boxing, as well as a bunch of other topics, and a really great anonymous. And I'll be back for the regular with Sasha Joseph next week.
Okay. All right. Of course, Friday night, I'm going to be getting together with the patrons of Rob's podcast to do this month's patron cast also. So I'll do the BB Q&A and the patron cast coming up on Friday night, August 26th. I'm going to go live at 6 p.m. Eastern if you want to call in, talk about anything that's going on. Big Brother, Survivor, The Challenge, Claim to Fame, whatever's on your mind. Call in and we will chat it up on Friday night, as we do at the end of the month here for the patrons of Rob's podcast. So much going on for the patrons, the slop, the BB Q&A. Join us live for our interviews with reality stars, plus join our Facebook group, Discord, the patron 5 for 5 number 250. We did it on video. What else do you want? robinswebsite.com/patron. Okay. All right. Then make sure you go to robinswebsite.com/subscribe. All right. Aysha, what else is coming up for you?
That's it. Well, actually, I did. That's it.
Yes?
But one thing.
Don't run out on us. Yeah,
right.
What else?
I talked about A League of Their Own over on Post-Show Recaps. It'll be dropping next week.
Prime reboot.
Yeah, I had to figure out how to get Prime just so I could watch it. Ended up getting my mom's login. But great season of a show. I never saw the movie, so this was my first.
What?
Yeah, now I need to go watch it.
Yeah. Oh my God, text me your thoughts.
But yeah, I had a great time talking to Grace, Marissa, and Sarah Ferguson. And then Married at First Sight coverage coming at you for 12 more weeks.
Yes. Well, you and Jason worked so hard on the Married at First Sight that there's so many episodes.
So many. 20th season. And then they give us like a week break and then we're back.
Yes. Aysha, also, do you want to weigh in tonight also on the Love is Blind couples that have now split?
Yeah, so we had the only 2 couples that stayed together last season. Love is Blind season 2 are now have both announced. Well, one didn't announce, but we found out that they're both getting divorced just in time for Love is Blind After the Altar, which is premiering in a couple weeks. So
that's going to be like all the singles.
No, it's going to be catching up with all of the couples that didn't make it from this past season. I think it's only a 3-episode drop. And so they did that for season 1 a couple of years after the season. But this one, we'll just find out where they are now because they're not together.
Okay. All right. That could be a mess magnet all on its own.
Crossover episode.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Kirsten, what else is coming up for you?
So Mess Magnets and Hot Dummies on Islands, as already discussed. Also BoJack Horsepod with myself and Lindsay Wilson. And Frail Mary and I finally got together this week to talk about the Riverdale season 6 finale, which was very wild. So check that out on Kowski Cast, and anything else you can find on my Twitter at Kirsten Said What.
I heard Riverdale season 7 might be it.
It is officially the final season, and we think it will only be 13 episodes.
One more.
No, set these people free. Release them.
Change.org.
Like literally, the last shot of the finale, Cole Sprouse looks so mad. Like he looks so angry. Like he just wants to go home and they won't let him go home. Release these actors, please. Release me.
Yes. All right. We'll give us like 30 more seconds.
Oh, not from this, from Riverdale, obviously.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Kirsten. And then Taran, what else is coming up for you?
Just hang out with me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. I released the latest Among Us video with Chaos is a Ladder, Game of Thrones tie-in as I channel my inner Littlefinger.
Well done.
Very fun stuff over there, so check it out. Just find me over on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. I'll tweet out all the stuff I've got going on. And House of the Dragon stuff, very fun, very good stuff.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We'll be back on with a busy Friday in the Big Brother 24 house. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.